when you leave the earth plane, different people have different stories about how it looks. So some people go through a tunnel, they go through a white light, they go through a doorway. That matches people's belief systems, and the angels will match it to whatever the person is ready for. There's lots of ways you can get to the other side.
Welcome to the Reality Revolution. I have a fantastic episode today. I have Rachel Corpus. If you haven't heard of Rachel, Rachel is an angel, an actual angel in a human body who came into physical form to learn and teach how to live a fulfilled life in deep connection with Source. She is amazing. I'm so excited to talk with her. So, welcome to the Reality Revolution, Rachel.
Oh, thank you so much. I'm so excited to be here. I actually really am a super fan of your show. So this is really exciting for
Uh,
me. And another thing that I think is really cool is when we're recording a show in advance, I can always feel the audience, and I love your audience. So thank you,
I'm,
all of you who are
yeah, I'm
listening.
telling you one thing. We have the most amazing group of people. Many of these are leaders and teachers themselves. They have podcasts. It's one of my favorite things about the Reality Revolution is the amazing people that follow my channel. And
Agreed.
so, right now they're probably commenting in chat and call
Yes.
out to all you guys who support the channel. It's amazing. And it gives me the opportunity to talk to wonderful people like you. So we have
Yes.
to hear your story. I'm sure that you've told it many times, but how do
Mhm.
you come to a realization that you're an actual angel? What's the process? What happened? Tell us your origin story, Rachel.
Well, I'm sure, like a lot of people in the spiritual community, I knew when I was little that, um, no, let me change that. I didn't know I was different when I was little, because when we're little, we're so beautifully free. It wasn't until I went to elementary school that I continued to speak freely about, well, I talked to this white woman, like, I mean, ethereal white woman dressed in robes, and she's gauzy, and however I described her at that point, who looks at me by my bed at night, and she talks to me, or I talk to these ghost children. And the other kids in my kindergarten class were like, wait, what? What are you talking about? And I started to close my gifts in because I didn't want to be strange. Um, when I was really little, I just did my thing as kids do. Kids are so beautifully open. So when I came into this body, when I came into this incarnation, I was I was just me, and that's what we're designed to do. But when I was 4 years old, my family was in a really brutal car accident. We were hit by a drunk driver. And I know every one of my family members has their own version of that story, what happened to them, because everyone, their body went through their own process, and emotionally as well. But for me, I had a near death experience. My brain went through a lot of trauma, and I was taken to the other side. Now, prior to this, I have memories of being in my crib and seeing angels above me, or what I identified as angels, and of course, playing with children that were part of the cemetery, and we had a fire station across from us. We lived in a big Victorian home, and there were lots of things going on in my childhood anyway. But I don't think I knew at that time that I was an angel, because when I had this near death experience, I was out of my body, and I was hearing this voice that was familiar to me, but it was a grown up voice. Well, it was my voice, and it sounds like my voice now. And I was kind of like, who's speaking? Oh, it was me. So, one of the exceptional things I think about that near death experience is that I don't have many gaps in that memory, because I was not remembering it as a little child. I remember it as an adult consciousness, because I was fully formed. I was an angel going out of my body. And they took me to the other side, and they said, look, here's the deal. Here's who you are, my love. You are of the seraphim rank. And there are all these places in earth, in heaven where you can exist. And there are dominions, there are cherubs, there are seraphims, and they kind of walked me through the realms. And when I say hierarchy of angels, it doesn't mean that there are greater than, less than. It's just how they call it.
Hmm.
And it's really the same on earth. We're not supposed to be greater than, less than. We're all intended to be equal. It's the same in the angelic realm. And they pretty much said to me, you have a choice. You can stay here and complete your mission. I'll talk about what that is in a second. And you'll be blessed. You can stay here, or you can go back and complete your mission on earth. And then they showed me what my mission would be. And it really is this. It will be
Hmm.
sharing your story. And we're going to promise you that you won't be persecuted in this lifetime. And those listening know what persecuted means, because there's a difference between creating a safe container on a YouTube channel like you've created, Brian, where people can say, oh, she's not an angel. Come on, she needs counseling. And then people saying, of course she is. That's a safe container. People get to argue. That's wonderful, because we get to
Hmm.
bring back the ability to disagree and still play in the same yard.
Right.
There's a difference between that and burning people at the stake. And they said there would be no persecution. They said I could come back and explain who I was. And the point would be, when people knew that I was an angel incarnate, they would be able to see through my story that there is no separation from God, that we're really all something. We're all angels. We're all star seeds. We're all good inside. And that everyone, the angels don't really care about labels. It's really no big deal that I'm an angel. It's no big effing deal.
Yeah.
It's that we're special. We're all special. We're all something. And we've forgotten, over all these incarnations, we have forgotten our divinity. And, we could talk all day about why that happened, who did it. I don't know if it matters, but what matters is we get to remember again. And by remembering, we get to empower ourselves to come back to our purpose, which is to be connected to each other, connected to source, and to be good to each other. And that's the mission I'm on, is just by being me and being kind to people, showing people how to be kind to each other, to help us remember we're here to have a good life. And so obviously that's what I said yes to. In my near-death experience, I didn't actually say, yes, I'll go back. Kind of flipped into my 4-year-old body, because I remembered seeing what I remember seeing my mother and how she'd be sad if I didn't go back. And as soon as I remembered that, I went whoosh back into my body.
Right. Do you
So
were you given what was your angelic name of
Genevieve,
Genevieve?
yeah, I'm
Okay.
Genevieve.
And can you explain, in the scheme of things, what angels are and what was their intention for why did the creator create angels?
We're messengers. We are, in some ways, we're needed because we share messages in a gentle way. When we're needed, we can shape shift. When I am not in a body, I'm definitely in a body for this duration of this life. But when I haven't been in a body, I can shape shift. Like, what I mean is, I'm Rachel now till I die.
Hmm.
But when I haven't been in a body, I can be a bird. I can go into other people's, like, I can stand by someone and I can whisper in their ear and say, oh, say this thing. So it's called angel speak. I can
Right.
whisper in someone's ear. And because we share messages of peace, or get the hell out of there. Don't go down that alley, you dumbass. It's not a good idea.
Right.
Back up. We can save lives if it's not someone's time. We are messengers. On the other hand, we're not so important, because no one needs a go between source or between God. And I'm not talking about religious God. I'm talking about big God. Religious God was created by man.
Hmm.
I'm talking about pure God, pure love God. Um, So we are needed and not needed at the same time.
Right.
We are created to help people and trees and animals, all the beings. I would say, this is my humble opinion, remember their divinity. Remember, we're the go between. We're kind of like the gophers for God, really.
Right.
We get coffee.
Are you able to at times go into a full memory of your
Yes,
true angelic form so you remember everything when you're in it? And now,
yes,
is it because of the nature of human 3D consciousness, it's hard to pull that memory back. Your limit, right? When you're in that higher state and then you come back, there's a bridge that they don't translate as well. I'm sure that you've experienced that, right? Explain it to me
yes.
how that works.
There was a time that I numbed it. I was a pretty radical alcoholic. When I was in that state and I was addicted to opioids to numb all of this, I had no connection to God.
Hmm.
When I am in my pure form, eating well, being kind to myself, kind to others, and basically practicing what I talk about, I can connect into my angel form. And that is me going into my crystalline body. And another way to speak it is some people say going into the 5D. And I can do that. Maintaining it is another thing because I'm also housed in a human body. Um, Also, someone who needs to pay bills and shit like that, right?
Right.
So, and even using the word shit, that has a lower vibrational frequency. So I get to watch all of those things and,
Right.
maintain that frequency, right?
Yeah.
So, as an angel, I can maintain that frequency and go into my angel form. It was easier when I was a child, and I have memories of looking in the medicine cabinet of my parents' home and seeing myself as pure light and just playing with that and saying, "What's that about?" Because I didn't know any different. It was a
Hmm.
lot easier then. I will say that I don't I've found that talking to God, and God is not personified. God is not, Gandalf on a cloud,
Of course.
but connecting with God, I have not found that I need to go into my full angel form to do that, which is interesting. And I
Hmm.
love that because nobody needs to go into a full form of anything. We can just go into any type of meditation, going on a walk, sitting still, listening to meditation music or ACDC, or, we just find our way to talk to God. I also forgot your question.
No, no, I get what. So, as a side note, just a small, I've seen a lot of star seeds and people that claim to have angelic backgrounds and from higher density beings experience this issue with alcoholism and drug abuse. It's almost like they have a fresh memory of that utter absolute eternal bliss, and and it just gives them that moment of just a taste of
Yes,
and am I right in thinking
yes,
that relates? That's why that is such a common thing.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah, there's that moment that, and please, if this is going to trigger you, listeners, hit mute, please hit mute. Um, but there's that moment that the opioid hits your bloodstream and you get that warm honey feeling. And
Right.
it feels the same as walking through the door to heaven. It
Yeah.
feels the same. And then you're always chasing it.
Yeah, my experience and memory
Yeah.
of higher dimensions and experience of
Um, it also froze our connection for a second.
all right.
Yeah, our connection just froze. Yeah.
So it's what you're experiencing is a really great example of how difficult 3D is. I mean, you have you're an angel entity, but experiencing through a physical body in 3D with the veil dropped and you don't have any memory of it. It's hard. I'm not trying to make that so that everybody needs to realize that life's hard, but the process that we're going through, I don't think it was meant to be easy. This struggle is a catalyst that allows us to move to a higher level, and
Right.
we always are going to struggle with all of these things, these triggers, these mechanisms. This world is a difficult world to maneuver through, especially coming from a higher density type of or dimensional or level of consciousness.
But what I know about this from my personal experience as an angel is when I was addicted to opioids, and if this is going to trigger you, anyone who's been addicted, hit mute, please. Don't listen to this part. But when you take an opioid, that feeling of it going into your bloodstream and it feels like the warm honey going in, that feels a lot like walking into heaven or entering the gates.
Yeah,
And so, of course, we chase that until we can blend the human experience with our human enlightenment. Then we don't need it anymore. We don't need that opioid. We just don't, because we found it the way that we signed up before we incarnated here. We actually signed up to create that as part of our journey,
right.
the spiritual growth.
The experience of God is really like it's like liquid love, this
Yes.
amazing warm bliss that is
Well
so
said.
powerful, you know.
Well
And
said.
so I can understand why. Before you do that, let me ask, just so we can have a background. When you're channeling, who are you channeling?
Whoever comes through.
Oh, okay. All right.
Yeah, because I'm part of the realm. These are my family, my best friends. So I am not, I joke. I say I'm not a human Ouija board. I joke. But that's also true. I have boundaries. So these are all from the realm that I am from. And whoever comes in, I will say who I'm channeling.
Okay. All right.
Okay.
Right now, we're in a very consequential time in the United States at the time that I'm
Yes.
interviewing you. And as an empath, I can feel I've never felt more anxiety, just in general, just the level of anxiousness, worry, concern, frustration, annoyance, and it's bubbling up like this. It's liquid. I can feel it just bubbling up, ready to explode. So I really want to get an answer as to what is going to happen over the next 2 weeks. And if you can give us a vision of how we can maneuver through this and what to expect in the future and how we can prepare and work through this as spiritual beings.
Hmm. Are you asking me to channel this or answer as Rachel the angel?
Whatever you think is appropriate. If you can channel it, if you think that's the best way, but I'd love to get just anything that you can offer as advice to help us or to help us understand what's about to happen or anything like that, what's happening to the earth. Seems like we're in a very pivotal time, and I'd love to, for you or the people that you're channeling or the entities you're channeling through to talk about this because others are listening and they're experiencing the same
Yes.
anxieties.
They have shown me that what is happening here on our earth is a great turnover, as if Mother Earth is creating a baby. She's laboring. Her water is breaking right now, and a new baby is being born. This is not an easy process. It's painful. It's messy. It's the water is breaking. It's bloody, and the outcome will be good, but it's it's very hard. And every place around the world, every region is experiencing this in their own way. And
Mhm.
even when we get smaller, every household is experiencing this in their own way, whether that's trying to keep water out of their house or pay bills, keep arguments out of their house or negotiate arguments. In a microcosmic way, everyone is feeling this. And even in our own personal spirits, we
Yes.
feel it. And that is when I go to God and I channel source, go right to source, that is not a punishment. That is something that if we're here on earth, we signed up to be here at this time. And we're here because we're the souls that can handle it. I will say that in the next month to 6 months to a year, we will see a lot of souls transition because those souls actually signed up not to be here. We will see a lot of people transition. Those people will be helping from the other side. That's their contract. Those who are here are not left behind. People who are still here are here to be helpers. Now, no matter what the outcome of in the United States, no matter what the outcome of the election, it's going to be rough for a while. And the angels have shown me that over and over. We are moving to a different political system. And we're going to see that breaking down of the political system happening very, very soon. I am seeing that there will be no more Republican, Democrat, liberal. I am seeing that. And that looks to be a breakdown pretty soon. And it doesn't look easy. It looks good, but it change is hard for everyone.
Mm-hmm.
I have been shown that in different regions of the United States, people will end up living in an area according to their belief system. So I've seen in my visions, there's a region of the Americas where people who are really passionate about homeschooling, they all live there. The movement where traditional, like the trad wife movement, that's gonna stick. They're gonna live in a certain, by choice, they're gonna live in a certain part of America. Then there are people who are more mystical. They're gonna live in a certain part of America. And that there are borders, but the borders are open and there's trade.
Mm-hmm.
And
The
there will
universe,
be, go ahead.
yeah, the universe has always kind of shown us that birds of feather flock together, and that makes sense to me that slowly over
Yes,
time people are going to congregate uh, with people that they're. I think
yes,
that even
that's
may,
the time now.
and maybe
Yeah,
you can tell me more, but it feels like that's what happens in the early afterlife, is that you just end up going to sort of a group that's similar to you. Like that's how the universe works,
yes,
that we're attracted to souls that are like ourselves, and it's a constant process of mutual attraction of similar
yes,
energies, and it's going to play out like that on in the United States and
yes.
the world, right?
Yeah, I see that happening really soon. I see more, hate to say this, but I see more world disasters, like climate disasters happening where land is going underwater, and even some areas that don't really make sense, some landlocked places going underwater, and
Well,
it doesn't quite make sense to my Rachel brain, but and yet I see it.
right.
And that doesn't look like it's natural. It looks like it's from another country.
Oh no.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So there are some things coming up, and the message from the angelic realm is pull together. There is nothing that happens that can't be conquered if they show people turning their shoulders together, blending their auric field, and collaborating. This is a time to collaborate.
Right. It's not a time for us to separate. It's not a time for us to divide. If we can come
Right,
together, if we can find something in common, even for those people that seem like we're not in common, I think that good things can happen if we can move
right.
towards that.
And
Um,
that's why they showed the first message through me was these people who have these commonalities will live here and live here, because that's peace. That will bring peace, because then the mystics, they will gather their resources over here, these people over here, and then all of them, all of these different groups of people, that's how they will collaborate all together as these small groups. Actually, there'll be large groups. I don't want to say they'll fight together. I don't know if I want to use that terminology, but the strength in numbers. There'll be all these collaborations. And no one, there won't be an authority figure that will say, now all of you separate and you live in your areas, like a parent saying, okay, you kids, you have to wear the big shirt until you get along. It doesn't feel like that at all.
Mhm.
This is how we get to peace. And I'm I'm feeling that that's the order of things, but it's all smushed kind of at once where we're figuring out where everyone is going to make their home, and this is all happening when the land is going to mush or it's not livable. So this is when people are deciding, well, I'm going to rehome my family and my animals at this time. And then there's some interruptions from other countries. The power grid goes out at various different times, comes back on, goes back out. There is some instruction from the angels to make sure that you have some solar power, to charge things. They don't show me that you have to go crazy with end of the world prep. Nope, nope.
Okay.
But I do see in the next season that we're going to be planting our own food, getting healthy soil back. Our soil doesn't seem to be healthy right now.
Mhm.
See lots of stuff coming from the sky that seems to be from our own country. A lot of it, and not all of it, but most of it's coming from our own country. I want to ask the rods that. I'm going to use my dowsing rods. Let's have a little.
Okay.
Um, got to move it back because my mic is here, but I'm going to ask Archangel Michael. I'll pull my mic back in a minute. Angel Michael, is there anything coming from the sky right now that makes our soil unhealthy? Yes. After the election in the United States, will we have a time where there is, will we be in a time of peace after the election, immediately after the election? Yes. Okay. Angels, when you talk to us, and Archangel Michael, please, when you talk to me about like-minded people living in various places of the country together, is that going to happen in the next 5 years? Yes, thank you. Do people need to buy um, survival supplies right now? No answer. Do they need to buy extra water? Yes, some. I heard some. Will the power grid go down? Yes. Will it go back on periodically? Yes. Will there be cyber attacks? Yes. Will there be war? No. Will there be civil war? No. So that's really where we are, Brian.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I, I would love to talk about the concept of angelic wars that's discussed in the Bible, and that there have
Hi.
been wars in the past with angels, and how much of that information is legitimate. Can you tell me more? Are there dark angels that are working for another side, or is like two sides to the angels? Is Satan an angel? Tell me more of what you know about the way that the angels are divided.
Well, when we talk about, okay, hold on. Let's ask the rods first.
Okay.
This will be interesting. I'm going to call in. Can you still hear me if I'm pulled back from my mic?
I can, yeah.
Okay, great. I'm going to call in. May I call in one of the highest ranking angels? Highest ranking angels, please, if that's possible. Show me when you're ready. They're arguing with me. You know, there's no high rank. You know, there's no high rank. I know, but someone who has access to all the records. And show me when you're ready. Thank you. Is Satan real? Is the devil real? No. I wanted you to see that.
Okay.
Has the Bible mismarketed angels? Yes. There's a lot of that in there, as you probably knew.
Right.
Have there been angelic wars? No.
Uh-huh.
But I can tell you some of the stories,
Sure.
what actually happened. And I've been present for a couple, and I have memories of that. Because as an angel incarnate, I have full memories of my past lives, my parallels. And so I have memories of some of those. And you can
Yeah.
ask me any of that if you'd like.
Well, yeah. Tell me about past lives. First of all, that you've incarnated as a human previous times, correct?
Yes, this is my seventh.
Is there a lot of other angels incarnated, um, in similar to you?
Yes, there are quite a few of us, especially now because this is the time of great change, the Enlightenment. So there are several of us. Many of them are children. So my incarnation, the point of me being here really is because I came in as a teacher and teacher, healer, spiritual teacher. So as the children come in as angels, I'm here to help parents and grown-ups understand children as they come in a little bit different, so that's a lot of
Yeah.
the work that I do. Yeah. But a lot of the angel incarnates are coming in as young people, millennials,
Right.
especially. Yeah.
This is a simplistic view, but it appears oftentimes that there's essentially two opposing forces, a group of people that are really out to serve others and to help the world beyond themselves, and a group that are really just out to serve themselves. And it seems like
Mm,
there's sort of a conflict between these two. And I'd like to get a grounding of the spiritual nature of why this is happening on the earth, why there is this sort of division between service to self and service to others. And
yes.
yes,
Perfect question. Because we all have a shared soul purpose, all of us. And that is to come here to learn and contribute. And so they're in their learning phase. That's where they are in their, and I wouldn't even know if they're young. All souls were created at the same time, all of us.
hmm
We don't necessarily have the same number of incarnations.
hmm
So if you encounter someone who is very self-absorbed, you you can probably assess that they are involved in the part of their purpose where they are learning about themselves or learning about this I don't know, earth, learning
hmm
about this earth field versus someone who is in the caring profession or is really absorbed into helping someone, teach someone. They're in the other part of their purpose, which is to um, contribute. And then there is a third population of people who are really close to their ascension, and they negotiate both sides.
Oh, okay.
where they contribute and they learn. Yeah. And we all know people like that, and they're pretty masterful at that.
Right.
Yeah.
Can you give me some background to what happens in the afterlife? You know, the moment we die.
Sure.
Yeah.
When you pass, your experience right away directly matches your vibrational frequency. Now,
Mhm.
your frequency, this gets a little bit weird to talk about, but your frequency is what you came in with when you were born. It's like a bank account.
Mhm.
So all of your lifetimes, everything that you have learned, builds a frequency.
Okay.
It's not whether you're good or bad. It's just your amount of learning. And so once you leave your physical body, you immediately move into that frequency and you go into a state of being that matches that frequency. So for me, I've only had 7 lifetimes here on Earth. So if that's all I'd ever experienced, which it's not, I've had lots of lifetimes. So if I'd had 7 lifetimes only, that'd be a tiny frequency. That'd only be like maximum 700 years. So my frequency, I might go into a room with my angels and they would begin to talk to me about, okay, here's your frequency. Here's what you have left to learn. Here's what you did. It was great. Here's what you have left to learn, because that would be the amount of my frequency. That would be my library
Mhm.
of learning. And you also have your vibration, your vibe, how you died. So, how you died, if it was traumatic, well, they might have some pulling apart of that. Okay, well, someone was kicking you. So, how do you want to pull that apart? You have some forgiveness to do. Okay, you're not ready yet. That's all right. We'll hug you through it. Okay. So, you immediately go through and you talk about how you died. So you have that kind of technical stuff. But
Mhm.
actually, the other part of it is quite mystical, because when you leave the earth plane, different people have different stories about how it looks. So some people go through a tunnel, they go through a white light, they go through a doorway. That matches people's belief systems, and the angels will match it to whatever the person is ready for. There's lots of ways you can get to the other side.
Yeah.
And that is because the other side is right with us. It's layered on us like saran wrap. So it's actually with us right now. It's not another place, it's a dimension. And dimensions are exactly right with us right now. The universe is actually very small. You could probably fit it in your pocket. So
Right.
when we leave this body, we just kind of zap into it, and the angels will create some sort of passageway to get there that will make sense to us. So some people imagine going up a stairway to heaven or a doorway, and that's really in a beautiful way made up for us. You might sit in a room for a while and sit with your angels and talk about what's next.
Mhm.
And then many times there is a party where your loved ones are there, you have a banquet. Almost everyone has a life review where you watch your whole life on a movie screen or a holographic screen. You're given a beautiful remote. Your angels also have a remote. They'll stop it and they'll say, okay, how'd that make you feel? What do you think about that? And there is no hell, which is kind of a brain buster for a lot of people who are raised religious.
Mhm.
Now, the things that we have done that have hurt other people, those don't just get washed away, but that's one of those pause moments. Whatever we have done that has hurt someone or hurt the universe, on the other side, it's used as therapy. And if it's really atrocious, let's use Hitler, for example.
Right.
When I've talked to Hitler in spirit, he's shown me that everything he was responsible for, he has felt, he's had to feel on the other side. And when he felt it, it wasn't made up. They created a dimension for him where he was unaware that he was Hitler, but he He was very aware that he was a little girl for years, feeling everything that he had done to her. And then he was a little boy, and then he was a mother, and then he was a father, and then he was a
Yeah.
scientist captured. And that was his perpetual reality. He did not know any different until it's probably still happening. But then I can talk to him when he has breaks here and there. His angels will too. How's that going? Oh, I can't believe I did that. And this is his path to redemption.
To
So it
experience what
to
it through
experience it.
their eyes. What?
Yes.
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 Uh,
So there is no hell, but we can imagine that must be pretty hellish.
but
But
you
there's no
create a
one's,
hell, kind of.
yes.
Yeah.
And many even think that Earth can be hell because of the stuff that we go through. But this is why we choose this dimension, because this is the dimension where we learn. This is the dimension where all the low vibrational frequency stuff happens. There's no other dimension like this anywhere. Earth is the one.
Mhm.
So when we cross over, we unpack all of that stuff, and then we continue our learning. We ask our angels, or they ask us, what do you want to do from here? We release our physical body. Of course, it stays here, but often in our crossing over journey, we still feel like we're in a physical body. We release that. We go into our mystical spiritual form, which can look like a wisp or an orb. We often see those in pictures of people that we take, and oh, there's an orb in there. That's our
Mhm.
loved one,
Oh,
or a
wow.
wisp or something. Yeah, because we can always come back and say hello to our loved ones. That's easy because, again, that dimension is sandwiched on top. So they're not coming from a long distance to visit. They're still in the kitchen. They're right there, just in another dimension layered on top.
Okay.
Yeah.
That so it it makes a lot of sense now. Is it feels like we're at a point, you mentioned that we're in a sort of schoolroom, kind of, that collectively a large chunk of the planet is about to graduate
Yes.
from these lessons that we're on, and I'd like to know what the next class will be like, what the next level of conscious living is. Have you had a glimpse of that? Feels like we're
Yes.
moving towards that. I talk about it a lot of time on my channel.
Yes, we are moving toward we are in actually the 1,000 years of peace, which some people call New Earth or 5D.
Hmm.
And it's always been available to us. The timeline was created in 2012 is when it opened up. And little by little, we've seen glimpses of it. And as we, in our human form, are ready for it, we can step into it. Just like heaven is a layer, that 5D dimension is also a layer. And the layer that we are in, the 3D, and then sometimes the 4D, it starts to fall away because we simply don't need it as much anymore. And we're more able to access the 5D. The 5D, that frequency is made of understanding, less ego, pure love, and it will always resonate there. It's almost like it's hovering and waiting for us. It's like the outfit we buy that we're waiting to fit into. And the way we fit into it is knowing ourselves, being self-aware, and loving ourselves and loving each other. And I'm being guided to say, letting go of failures, looking at our failures as, oh, that was an interesting lesson. Oh, there I go again, not hanging on to things for too long. And when we can do that, we will click into that 5D. I'm sure you do when we have those in the flow moments, those Zen moments, and then we go back into the 4D, 3D.
Hmm.
Um, there will be a time where we're all in the 5D, and we'll know it because our bodies, our physical bodies, will align with it. So our cells already are starting to receive more light. That process confuses our physical bodies like crazy. So it seems, though, and I want to ask the rods this in a minute, that this has been scientifically seen, and especially in our crowns and our educational system. And there are a lot of people who are trying to slow this down. So it's
Hmm.
been harder for us to enlighten. And there are some things being done in our culture, like fluoride, for example, has always been trying to slow us down from our enlightenment.
Hmm.
And so the more we can eat our own foods, eat whole, eat healthy, we can help our body receive more light. Um, does that make sense?
Absolutely. Yeah.
Okay. The question I want to ask, because I don't want to appear as a conspiracy theorist, is I want to ask if there has been some outside involvement in keeping us from the 5D. Would you mind if I ask the
Please
rods
do. Yeah,
that?
I'd love to know.
Okay. Archangel Raphael, has there been any outside involvement in keeping us as humans from going into the 5D experience? Yes. Is that coming from our air? Yes. Our food? Yes. Our water? Yes. Educational system? Yes. Okay. Will that interference end within the next 2 years? Yes. Is there anything we can do now in our own homes to stop it? Yes. Could you put that in my mind, please? Grounding mat. Yes. Fluoride-free toothpaste. Yes. Singing. Yes. Singing and humming. Yes. Long hugs. Oh, yes. Long hugs. Can you show me what that looks like? Oh, I see. Oh, I see. That's what you mean. So when you hug people, go weird with it. Okay. Really, literally long hugs. Okay.
All right.
Dopamine. Okay. And then they said like horse therapy and petting your dogs and cats, that they have the ability to heal us.
Oh, I got
That's
that
why
covered.
they're here.
Nice.
Good. Do you? That's
I
great.
got some great cats. Yeah.
Me
So
too.
a lot of teachers sort of treat what's happening in this division and this outside group that and environmental factors pulling us away from 5D, that a split is sort of happening. That there really is going to be, there's two Earths. There's a certain Earth where those people that still need those lessons, and then those who are ascending into that 5D. Would there be an actual physical split? Is the split happening, or is that a misunderstanding?
Angels, do you see that as a split? I'm just going to leave you over here, you cute little Muppet. Is it an actual split? I don't see it as a split, but let's see what they say. Do you see it as a split, my precious angels? No, it's not a split. It's not a split.
Okay.
It's a timeline. It's a new timeline.
Okay.
They
And that,
also don't care. It's whatever works for people.
right.
Oops, sorry. It's whatever works for people, but it's not a split. And I'm hearing them say they don't mind the verbiage of it being a split, as long as it doesn't seem like anyone would be left behind or anyone would be rewarded.
Okay. So there will be a phase where people will take a little bit longer to learn. Eventually, they're going to
Yes.
end up in the same place, but a little phase where where people move on their own natural path they're going to learn some of those basic lessons and go back to first grade. And there's people that are going to
Mhm.
graduate from college, and it's all towards the same end, is how I
Yes.
understand that.
And those who take a little more time, they will have so many opportunities to keep learning. Yeah, no one will be left behind. Absolutely. And that's why that timeline was presented to us in 2012, because some people were ready then.
Right.
You can just step right on it. Yeah.
I would love to get little more detail. One of the struggles of the 3D experience on this planet is finances.
Mm,
Many people struggle with poverty. They don't have time to be spiritual. They don't have time to be of service because all they have to focus on is paying their rent, finding monies to pay for food, take care of their kids. And
yeah.
so this is obviously a part of the structure of this experience. And I would like the guidance of you and the angels to help those people that are struggling with this aspect so they can move on to other lessons on this planet and how they can overcome their struggles with prosperity or lack.
Ah, yes. Okay. It feels like BS when the angels say to manifest money with your thoughts. When you're trying to do that and you're in struggle mode. And Rachel, as a person, I know what that feels like. I do. I've been in those moments where I've just had 35 cents in the bank and three children. I know what that feels like. So I hear that. Also, I know how the universe works. The universe listens through feelings. So I'm going to say, from me and from them, start speaking to the universe with your feelings and remember how powerful you are. The feeling that you give to the universe, the feelings that you are feeling, that is how you're speaking to the universe. So, first and foremost, I'm going to say, feel your feelings and don't disrupt them, don't ignore them, because that is irresponsible spirituality. We don't want to ignore any feelings. So say to your angels, everybody has one or two guardian angels, and they are here to serve you and nobody else. They're just yours. So the process can be, say to your angels, whenever I'm frustrated or scared about my money, surround me in your light. I don't want to manifest from that place. That's the first thing you get to do. And then realize that your money stuff, your limiting beliefs, they probably don't belong to you. You came in as someone who is ready to create everything that you want. That's your contract with source. You came in that way. And then when you're born, free will makes you forget all of that. Then you came in as this sponge or this beautiful open computer ready to be programmed, and you got programmed by your mom and dad, your grandparents, whoever raised you, and you got all of this programming that doesn't belong to you. Create a system where you can diagnose those limiting beliefs that you have and return them to the sender. So when you notice, okay, I'm scared about paying this bill, who does that really belong to? It's not yours. Is it your mom's? Were
Mhm.
you scared to ask for presents when you were growing up? Did you always hear, oh no, honey, not this paycheck? Did you overhear conversations about money? Write those things out on a piece of paper, then fold it up, color a ribbon on it or something, and write it out to mom from me, and then burn it or put it in your hope chest or something, return it to sender. Because we got to get this stuff out of your subconscious, the angels say. We got to, it's in there like sludge. It's in there and it does not belong to you. We got to create a process. So your subconscious beliefs, you may not know that they're in there, but they're the ones that are ruling the road. So your conscious mind is making all these great choices. I want to save money. I want to go here. I want to buy a house. And you're doing really a great job with that, but it's your subconscious that's ruling the road. So you got to get that stuff out of there. So those are the first two things from spirit. Call us in to surround you so you can really feel your thoughts, feel them. And then the second thing is figure out what those limiting beliefs are and return them to sender. Then the third thing they want you to do is they want you to give yourself a chance to reinvent yourself. This is who I am when I have money. Roll your shoulders back. Give yourself a song, like a soundtrack. This is who I am when I have money. Pick a song and play that song every time you think about you have a money worry. No, play that song in your mind. Roll your shoulders back. No, this is who I am as a prosperous, abundant child of the universe or child of God, whatever works for you. Play that song on the radio in your mind because this is you resetting your belief system. Okay, this is the reset. So pick the song. You can even rename yourself. I'm telling you, when the angels told me that my name was Genevieve, that was life-changing for me. And I would guarantee you're a starseed or an angel or somebody if you are, I guarantee you're special. So give yourself a new name, just like Beyonce did when she was Sasha Fierce,
Right.
something like that. Yeah. That's your third step. And your fourth step then is to play with the universe. Say, okay, universe, I'm doing this. Show me some cues that this is working. And 555 can be a message from the universe that they are amplifying your money. Look at that on license plates, 777. Watch for their cues. And when you get a check in the mail that you didn't expect, or you win a scratch off ticket, or you find $5 on the sidewalk, write a note, I found $5, post that on the wall. Make a wall, proof that I'm abundant. Okay. That's your new process. Okay. Because you are meant to be abundant. We got to rewrite that. Okay.
Yeah.
I know that was a lot, but I'm
Yeah, I
really
love it.
passionate about that because we're not here to struggle. We are
Ex-
not. We're not.
I feel that. And
Yeah.
I see so many people that are still stuck in first grade. They're still stuck because of this struggle. And if they
Ah,
could just overcome this, they could literally skip to sixth grade. It's just this thing that is
yes.
just, they're stuck in a muck of quicksand, kind of. I just want to pull them out,
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. My loves, this is how I did it. I'm telling you that I had 35 cents in the bank and this is what the angels channeled me for me. And this is how I did it. That is how I did it. So I hope
Thank you
I
for
know
that.
it will work for you. Yeah.
So I have the impression that we have angels all the time. Is there any other advice you can have for us to connect to the angels that are around us that are our guardian angels? Is there any other advice that you can give in connecting to those angels?
They are delighted when you spend time with them because when you are not so focused on you being you, but you're
Mhm.
sleeping or anytime you're not totally with it or you're in between lifetimes, they're your best friends. You just
Right.
forget when you're born. So if you could spend some time, they call it in a meeting, go to a meeting. So that can be meditation. Pick a song you love, do a guided meditation to meet your angels, go sit outside and let the sun hit your face. Just spend some time with them. That is the best way to connect with them. And then nudge them a little bit. Say, okay, if you're really here, show me some hearts this week. Show me, and I don't even, I'm not a big heart person, but show them, you choose your thing.
Yeah.
Show me, show me an elephant. Don't make it too easy. They love a challenge. Start to build a relationship with your angels. And then do some research. What are angels allowed to do and what are they not allowed to do? Because you have the beautiful gift of free will and they're working for you. Now, the biggest thing I can tell you about angels is if you say to them, I invite you in, you elevate your angels from being cheerleaders to active participants in your life. Big difference. So I would say that to them right away. and they have their own personalities. They're really funny. Most everyone on the planet right now has two angels, one on your left, one on your right. And they usually work with one of the archangels who gives them advice. So you might ask them in meditation, who's your archangel? And it's the first thing that comes to your mind. Have confidence that whatever they show you, you're not making up. This is how channeling works. So be confident in that. And I love dowsing rods. And I love working with dowsing rods because they have a casing around them. So you're not interfering with the answer. And they're made of copper. You can get them from, I like to get them from a local metaphysical shop first, or you can
Right.
get them from Amazon. Another great way to talk to them.
Very cool. Well,
Yeah.
thank you for sharing all this. We've covered so much ground, and I'm sure
Yeah.
that there's so much I missed that I would love to get from you, but I really appreciate you taking the time with me and sharing your knowledge. Please share to the angels how much we appreciate them. And please, I ask the angels with you, through you in this moment, to guide us, to heal us, to bring us together, to show us the truth, to give us a path to move towards greater love and greater peace. Please, I'm asking you, for those people who can't ask, I ask you to ask them. Okay?
Yes. And so it's done. Always. Always.
Where's the best place that people can get in touch with you and find out your information, Rachel?
Aw, thanks for asking that. I have a website. It is my name, Rachel Corpus. My last name is spelled like Corpus Christi. It's my husband's name,
Mm-hmm.
Corpus, rachelcorpus.com. And I see clients I live in Des Moines, Iowa. So I see clients in person or on Zoom. I see people all over the world. And I have a program called the Mindset Luminary. So if you like what I was talking about building your money, if you like kind of how the angels talk through me about building your life, I can meet with you. I don't love the term coaching, but it is coaching. You can talk to me
Right.
about that as well. We have a lot of fun. And occasionally I teach classes. I'm a busy mama. You know how that goes, you
Mm-hmm.
parents in the so I fit those in when I can. And so you can read all about that on my website, rachelcorpus.com. And of course, all the social medias, I'm on the Facebook and all of that stuff. So
And you have a
that's,
podcast, the Angel Talk podcast as well?
yes. Oh, I'm so passionate about my podcast, Angel Talk. Thanks for helping me remember that, because I like how people can just tune in and listen and learn some things from the angels, and nobody knows they're listening, so they can just get into that. Yeah, so that's Angel Talk. It's available on all platforms.
Very
And yeah,
cool.
I'd love it if you could listen. Yeah. I had so much fun today, Brian. You're
Yeah,
the
thank you so
best.
much, Rachel. You're the best. And thank you so much. And welcome to the Reality Revolution.
Thanks.
We return you now to your local announcer.